Hi, I haven't made a video in a while. Some of you remember me, some of you don't. Some of you are seeing me for the first time, maybe if YouTube's algorithm is being kind. But anywho, yeah, I got a little bit of new makeup and I just kind of wanted to compare some of them. So today's look is going to be mainly focused on testing out these products, but also how to create a glowing kind of dewy look for dry skin. You can also consider it for skin of a certain age group. So we'll say like 35 plus, although this could be applicable for under and over as well. It doesn't really matter, but you know, I'm just doing something that is flattering on me, on my skin type and on my age group. So I'm 36, for example. If you have a similar skin type and you're of a similar age group, then at least you can kind of conceptualize how it's going to look on you. The most important step to any kind of glowing skin makeup or skin routine is appropriate skin prep. So you really want to make sure that you hydrate your skin really well. You know, I'm not going to preach to you about drinking all your water because I'm sure you probably get enough of that from other sources, and so do I. Use your tried, tested, and true skincare. If you have dry skin, then naturally you're going to want something that's hydrating, so either something that's going to have a lot of water content in it, or a lot of oil content. It depends on the type of dry you are. For myself, I prepped my skin with Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Cream. It's one of my favorite creams to use as a base for makeup. I find that makeup applies really well over top of it and usually doesn't compete or conflict with a lot of foundation formulas or concealer formulas that I put on top. I'm going to try out a new foundation. I just got this like little mini sample of this new Chanel foundation that's on the market. Excuse me, I don't remember the name. This could go very, very well or very wrong. Depends. Because I've never used this foundation before, and when I'm trying to teach a technique, it often helps if I've used something that I already know works well. So here goes nothing. So I typically I take a little bit of foundation. By the way, they didn't have a very great shade range, to be honest, even in the paler shades. I think there was a 10 and a 20. 10 was too light. This is the 20. It looks a bit too dark, but we will see how this looks when it's blended out. Plus, it's supposed to be sort of sheerish coverage, so hopefully it won't look too bad when it's blended out. And I'm just gonna do it with a sponge. This is a beauty blender. I really like beauty blenders. I feel like these are a staple in your makeup kit. I know there's a lot of different sponges out on the market that are, you know, dupeable, I guess. I've tried a few, not all of them, but I've just never found that they're as good as this. There's something about the texture of this sponge that applies makeup really nicely and evenly and comfortably, and in my opinion, worth the splurge. Oh my gosh. So, I love it. Sorry, swearing. Oh, damn. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Yeah, it's pretty. It's really glowing. Nice. I'm super curious to see how this wears throughout the day and if it lasts. Power Boost by Rare Beauty is going to be my bronzer contour. So I apply my contour in this area of my forehead I just like to give myself a little bit of color there, so I don't look very washed out. And then for the cheekbones, I actually do a line, like, if you can see, my cheekbone is right here. If I do the fish face, it's right here, but I don't put my contour there because as I blend, it's going to spread. And then when it spreads, it will go down below my actual cheekbone onto my jawline, which is then just going to make my face look really muddy and dirty. And it's going to defeat the purpose of giving me the definition that I want. So what I do is I actually apply the contour just above that line, so that when I actually go to blend it, it doesn't go beyond the cheekbone line, and I maintain that definition. And then as I'm blending, I'm kind of doing this stippling motion, but I'm also kind of like brushing it up so that I'm making sure that it doesn't go beyond my cheekbone line and onto my jaw. You may have noticed that for the skin thus far, I am using cream products. If you have dry skin, that is going to be your best friend, your best option. If you feel like makeup, even though you have dry skin, doesn't last on you, because you feel like it fades too much or your skin kind of just drinks it up, right? And then it goes away, then it's just an indication that you're probably not using enough skin prep or the right skin prep before your makeup. Like I said, hydration and moisture is key. Think of your skin like a sponge. You may find that kind of like dewy sprays, something like MAC Fix Plus, for example, you can use that. You can use it as a toner. You can use it as a primer step as well after your skincare. You can mix it in with your foundation. You can spray it after your foundation, and you can actually also refresh by spraying that on throughout the day. It's a really versatile product. Funny enough, don't consider it a fixing spray. Max Fix Plus, I would not consider it to be something that's actually sets your makeup or fixes it in place. It's mainly a hydration product. Tower 28 Beach Please After Hours. Tower 28 cream blushes are by far my favorite cream blush formula, and I've tried a few. This, in my opinion, is the best in terms of texture, pigmentation, blendability, and longevity. I'm gonna use a mini blender sponge. So this is the original. This is the, it's not really the mini, I guess it's the medium. It's right in between. I'm gonna use the mini later on so you can see what they look like. Anyway, I'm just gonna like do a triple tap or quadruple tap very lightly. This product is extremely pigmented. And then I'm just going to pop that on where I want it, onto my cheek, and this helps blend it out super, super nicely. The way I like to apply it for my particular face shape is I do kind of go a little bit on the cheek, but then I, just above where I had placed the contour, I kind of follow that up to my temple. I feel like this gives me a kind of more contoured, defined look. It's also more slimming. If you just focus on the apple of the cheek, rather than bringing it up to the temple, you'll get a more kind of like flushed, kind of cutesy look. Like a youthful look. I guess it just depends on what your preference is. When I do this technique, think of this kind of like invisible, well, I do it invisibly. If you need the help visually, then you don't have to do this invisibly, but you just kind of think of your two fingers, put them next to your nose, right, on either side, and you don't want to apply the blush beyond that point. So from here towards your nose, if you're doing that kind of like sculpting technique with your blush, make sure you don't apply it 2 fingers away from your nose. I'm going to do concealer next. I'm using the NYX Professional Makeup Bare With Me Concealer Serum. I have 2 shades, so I find that I'm in between shades again. I'm using Vanilla, I believe. Yeah, Vanilla and Light. And by the way, really, really, really good drugstore concealer. I literally just like take 2 dots of each. This is probably going to seem like very little in comparison to how much concealer I find that people are using here on YouTube and on Instagram, but you don't need that much. If you get a high coverage product, you don't need to over apply, because that's the point of high coverage. A little goes a long way. Anywho, this might even be too much, to be honest. I often find myself wiping some off. Yeah, so like right now, for example, whatever excess I have on my fingers, I just kind of wipe it off. And I like to get all up in here in this corner, because I find that I get darkness there. And you'll notice that I first applied it in kind of like where that hollow is, I guess where my bag line is. I applied it there first, and then I blend it upwards and outwards so that there's less product going up into my lash line and a little bit going down onto the tops of my cheekbones to kind of brighten, highlight. I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder Under Eye and Face in shade 1 Fair. I find that this is a really nice under eye powder. It's matte, but not completely. It has a tiny, tiny bit of light reflection. So it's not that detectable. Like, it doesn't look like obvious shimmer, but it just does a really nice job of giving some added brightness. And this shade in particular has a bit of a pink undertone, which is good for color correction of darkness, blueness, purpleness under the eyes on fair skin tones. If you have a deeper skin tone, then you would look for something a little bit more peachy. If you have like a really dark skin tone, then you'd be looking for something a little bit more orangey. If the goal is color correction. If it's not, then, you know, translucent or, you know, a face powder in the color of your choice that you find sets nicely and is brightening. If you are going to use powder to assist in some color correction, by the way, make sure that it is translucent enough so that when you put it on, it doesn't appear like an obvious shade or hue difference once it's blended out. So like, I don't want my under eyes, for example, to look pink, and someone of a deeper or darker skin tone wouldn't want their under eyes to look orange. You get me? Okay, so I have set the under eye. I did a kind of like a baking technique, maybe. I just don't use that much. Like, I don't cake it on. I feel that's unnecessary, especially for someone who is, you know, seeing some fine lines around their eyes. That will just enhance them if you put too much powder. And I don't leave it on for very long either. I dust it off. Because again, if you leave it on for too long, it'll draw out the moisture from your skin and then it will enhance any fine lines. All right, cool. So, time for the testing of the new highlighter product. I've got a few, so I don't know which one to use today. Seeing as how I already set my eyes, which I probably shouldn't have if I wanted to use a cream, I am not going to use a cream. I'm going to use a powder highlighter. So when you use creams, guys and gals and everyone else in between, however you identify, when you use creams, you want to do all your cream products first, and then you want to do your powders last. You don't want to flip from cream to powder, powder to cream, despite what you may see on YouTube or on Instagram, because they do not often play well together. Okay, I'm just gonna put in a little bit of this loose highlighter. This is from Jaclyn Hill. Ooh, it's loose highlighter in the color Amped. It's kind of like this pinky hue. I don't know how that's gonna look on my skin tone. I tried it on in the shop lights and it looked okay. So we will see how that looks in daylight at home. Anyways, so as I was saying, cream and powder not playing well together if you're trying to flip back and forth. Basically, they grip onto one another. So if you've already put a powder down and then you go in with a cream, the cream is going to grip to the powder. And then what often happens is you will get patchiness, you will get difficulty blending, and you will also get makeup lifting off of your face. Not a fun time. So I don't recommend doing it unless you have experience with the particular products that you are using and you know that that problem doesn't happen with them. Don't experiment and do that before any kind of big event or if you're running late anywhere, because chances are, more often than not, it won't go well. And then you'll find yourself washing your face off and having to redo everything. Okay, highlighter's on. I think it's a pretty color. I was going for something that was a little bit more natural in terms of color, and nothing that looked white or ashy when you look at me dead on. I just find that it's not flattering on me anymore. I used to do something that was brighter in color before when I was a little bit younger, but I developed rosacea on my cheekbones, which leaves me with some texture and bumps, and I found that it just enhanced the texture so much more. So I kind of look for something that's kind of similar to my skin tone, maybe just a little bit brighter, so that when I turn my face, the highlight really is in the effect of a gloss. Like it looks like a flash or a glossiness of my skin as opposed to a lighter color. You know what I'm gonna show you? I'm gonna show you a good powder if you do want a powder and you want radiance. Again, even radiant powders, because it's a powder, it's going to mattify slightly. So if you have any glossy sheen that you worked to achieve, it will mattify that slightly, even if it's a radiant powder, because, you know, powder absorbs, so it will do that. But with the added radiance, you know, it helps to kind of counterbalance that effect and also as your natural oils break through during the day, it actually will make your skin look even more radiant and glossy as the day goes on. A great powder for that is the Jaclyn Hill Luminous Powder. My shade is in Doomy. It's spelled D-E-W, by the way. I take a really big fluffy brush. The fluffier the brush, the less dense the brush, the lighter application you're going to get. I don't want a heavy application. I'm dry skinned. I don't need that much powder. So just a really light coverage around where I find I get oily, which is through my T-zone. I tend to get makeup that gathers near the corners of my mouth. So I'm just gonna do around the mouth and in the smile lines as well. And I tend to get makeup, see? You can already see it. Makeup kind of separates or it kind of gathers in any forehead lines. So you wanna take your beauty blender and you wanna pat that out first to make sure you're not setting any creased makeup. So the powder in this area, and of course any area where you have movement or creasing happening, powder in those areas will help prevent any creasing from happening. Sometimes I'll even apply a little bit under the jaw. And this is mainly because I tend to lean on my hand, lean my face on my hand and hold my jaw when I do that. And I do that unconsciously, it's not purposeful. But that's obviously not great to do when you're wearing makeup because it can, you know, transfer, it can remove some of the makeup that you worked hard to put on your face. Again, if you want to enhance the glow, you can take MAC Fix Plus or, you know, a dewy setting spray of your choice. I'm going to use the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray by Charlotte Tilbury. This setting spray, in terms of making you look more dewy, wouldn't say that it is as good as the MAC Fix Plus. However, it is by far the only setting spray that I have ever used that has actually worked to set my makeup and increase the longevity. I'm gonna do my hair, I'm gonna come back, and then you'll see the whole look all together. See you soon. Okay, I am back. Different top and hair is done. And this is the final look, as I've said. So let's have a close-up. I think my skin looks really beautiful, looks really radiant. Coverage is not too heavy, which is just the way I like it. Yeah, and I think the foundation is freaking gorgeous. You can see that the radiant powder, you know, it didn't completely mattify my nose area or my chin area. Had a little bit of time to kind of mesh with my skin while I was doing my hair. So you can see what I was talking about, that as your oils break through, your skin tends to look even more radiant when you use a radiant powder. The highlighter color, I love it. It's beautiful. I think it's exactly what I wanted. It gives me that kind of glossy sheen and is just the right tone for my skin tone. Don't sleep on those Jaclyn Hill face products, guys, like the translucent powders and those loose highlighters, because they really are super beautiful. I know that her brand didn't start off on the right foot with her lipstick launches, but I think that they have since redeemed themselves, at least in that category. So well done, Jaclyn Hill, on those products. That powder is actually, I've repurchased it a second time, so very happy with it. I'm going to bring my blinds up so you can get an idea of what this looks like in the sunshine. I don't know if
if it's a great vantage point for you, but you can see the radiance in my skin. Cute. Yeah, I like the foundation's great. The highlighter's great. Everything else I think I've used before. So yeah, thumbs up. Let me know how you guys like this look. Let me know if you've tried it. And let me know if any of these tips and tricks and techniques work for you to help you get that kind of glowing look for dry skin. All right, see ya, bye.